Hey there, I'm Caden Rains and welcome to my basement. Today we're looking at the 2023 Sanctum Sanctorum from Marvel Lego. It's hard to believe this came out a little over 3 years ago, in 2022, but here we are. It's finally out from under my bed and out of storage, wherever it's been hiding up until now. But we're going to put it together, we're going to add it to the city, and we're going to get going on it. So, let's get started. So here is the completed Sanctum Sanctorum set. From the outside, it's very impressive looking. It does a little bit narrower than you might have expected from looking at the box art, and that's partly because of this, or mostly because of this alleyway on the side. But part of that's because of the play feature, or one of the exterior play features, which has to do with these sections of the wall as we look around. So including this Shugaroth slash Gargantos there. So if you're just looking for how the set is from the outside, it looks good. It gets that appearance that you especially get in the Marvel movies, but is inspired by the Marvel comics. It has references to the address number there, and there's even a letter to it here, and so on and so forth. But let's look at the individual details, starting with the minifigs, and then what goes into each part of the build, and get a better idea of the entire thing from there. All right? All right. Here are the 9 minifigs this set comes with, 3 being different versions of Doctor Strange from the second Doctor Strange movie. We've got Base Strange, Sinister Strange from the dimension that was dead, basically, Zombie Strange or Dead Strange, which was just a dead Doctor Strange from the beginning of the movie. We've got Wanda, Scarlet Witch, then Wu, and the alternate version of Mordo. So he's Master Mordo, but yeah. Also, because this set takes inspiration from pretty much all the appearances of Doctor Strange, we have Ebony Maw from the Infinity War movies, as well as Iron Man and Spider-Man. Iron Man because Strange and Iron Man fought Ebony Maw in the Infinity War, and then of course we had Spider-Man and Doctor Strange kind of crossover again for the third Spider-Man movie in the MCU. I feel like each of the figures is pretty good on their own. I especially like the 3 Doctor Stranges, the Spider-Man, and the Iron Man. They have pretty good printing from top to bottom. Wanda's fine, but similarly to Mordo and Wong, they don't have printed pants, printed leggings. Ebony Maw too, really. Which, we've talked about this in other modular builds. If they're going to skimp out on something, it's going to be the legs when it comes to minifigs. And that's a bummer. But when you're getting 9, and some of them, I believe, are at least partially unique to this set. I know most of their faces aren't, except for these alternate Stranges, I think. But I think some of their other printing is. So it is a good collection, especially keeping in mind that this is basically referencing like 4 movies. So it's not like this is just the Doctor Strange 2 set or the Infinity War set. It does say Infinity Saga on the box. So, that was from the line of builds that were just sort of everything up through Endgame. So those are the minifigs. I think you get a pretty good selection. You can recreate a good number of scenes using these, even if some of them didn't take place at the Sanctum Sanctorum, specifically the Master Mordo and Scarlet Witch figs, but everybody else showed up there at some point. So I still think it's a good selection, considering it. The overall set is taking inspiration from multiple movies. So let's put away the minifigs and take a look at the individual levels of the overall set. So here is the overview look of the first floor. Now we are going to take it apart a little bit more because it is, even with being just one floor, it's kind of broken down a bit more. But the one thing that the way this set is built really draws attention to is a lot of little Easter eggs. So hidden behind the stairs even, from the first Doctor Strange movie, you've got where he was traveling to try and find a cure. Well, that's just a box that says Wong stuff. That's so fun. But there's also an X-ray of Doctor Strange's hands, hand from his accident in the first movie. And I think even though it's bigger than a watch on a minifig, I think that's supposed to be the watch from his love interest. And then this is just a fun little nod. There's Stormbreaker's pizza. So Thor's axe that he makes, except it's I guess a stick with a piece of pizza on it. But anyway, the entranceway leads directly to the stairs here, and the door does open, but because it's such a narrow area, if you don't open it all the way, and even if you do, it kind of blocks getting into the side areas here. But again, if all you care about is the display from the outside, then it's not going to be that big a deal. You've also got this seated area with the Doctor Strange's graduation medical degree, and then Wong and Doctor Strange above that. Maybe it's supposed to be the ancient one. It really looks like the same print they gave to Wong, so maybe it's him, maybe it's the ancient one, who knows. But anyway, it's a good little corner, and then you have a clock here, grandfather clock right there. On the other side, you have a map as well as a picture of Doctor Strange showing off above a globe there. Yeah, so there you go. I believe that map is supposed to be of where all the sanctums are. They go to another one in the first movie, but after that, they kind of stop messing with them too much. But anyway, so that's the front entrance as you walk through the door, but we can also take off the top of these stairs here to get a look at what else is going on. Now, this is kind of cramped, and that is because of the alleyway that's built into this set. Now, part of that, as I mentioned before, is because of the play feature with the walls. And for each of the wall sections that have one of these portals, or there's also the Captain America sign, they can slide in and out pretty easily because they're just connected similarly to the modulars, the rest of the modular levels, with a simple modified 1x4 with just 2 studs. And all of them have this rounded top, all 3 of them, so they're pretty easy to get in and out. But I do wish this alleyway was maybe at least 2 studs skinnier, because if you look over here, you've got this, I guess, kitchen area, and this just fridge build right here, which I actually think is a pretty good build for what it is, and it also hides the one of the Infinity Stones. But you've got this build, and it's even got stickered stuff in it. Let's get it in there. So there's actually a lot of stickers in this set, incredibly amount of stickers. So they put the effort into it, and then they hid stuff, but it's so hard to get to in the grand scheme of things that it's almost not worth being there. I would rather it not be to open up the overall entranceway, or that the alleyway was skinnier, or just not there. I get why they want it there, and they got more references, and I like how they added these boxes here to make it modular without the wall going all the way to the edge of the base plate. But it seems like kind of a waste of space. It still looks nice, don't get me wrong, and there is a door on the side here, so you can get to that kitchen area. But if you're having to go outside your house as a wizard to get to your kitchen, I feel like you're doing something wrong. So it's not the worst thing in the world, especially, once it's in place, you're not going to think about it too much unless you're a weirdo like me. But if I was going to modify this set, and part of me wants to, it would be to expand this side of the house at least a few studs, if not all the way to the edge here. Yeah, it's nice to have the alleyways every so often, but I really feel like that would make it look better in the long run. But regardless, that is the first floor. It sets up a good floor plan. It's got a lot of references baked in already, and it does flow to the next floor. So let's take a look at that. And here is the overview of the second floor. Now, similar to the first one, because it is as narrow as it is, as you come up the stairs, there's not actually that much room around the opening to the stairs. So if you're hoping to set up like a big meet and greet of wizard minifigs or marble figs or whatever, you're only going to have so much space for them. That being said, there's still a lot of good references and looks here. We've got the page on the Cloak of Levitation. There's also the page from the first movie where he was practicing with the time stone. There is just some imagery. That's definitely the ancient one on the left. I believe that's Mordo on the right because of the hairstyle. It's the same hairpiece that Mordo has in this set. So I'm going with that. There's also a Chaos Emerald, which I'm sure that's what they intended us to believe, but I'm going to go with it. And his invitation to Shambhala, a skull, because you got to have a skull in a creepy wizard place. Two pretty neat chairs, and then there's just this potion kind of thing there. I don't know if that's supposed to be anything in particular, but it's just there. It's neat. But the play feature of the second level is this door here. And it has to do with these air conditioning units on the back. You can see that there's an indentation between them. And that's because of how this door opens to. So you probably remember from the first movie, of Doctor Strange, if you've seen it, that they had those doors that basically were permanent portals, I guess. And they dropped some people through and whatnot. So there's three things this door can open to based on how you're using the air conditioning on the back. So with the right side one all the way pushed inside, you've got the desert there. All right, close it. And then if we move the left one all the way over, we've got the mountains. And if we have them both in their standard position, it instead opens to this galactic scene, and it's very hard to see. Yeah, with the shadow, you can't really see it, but there's actually, in that top right corner, there's actually a little outline of the Watcher. So that's pretty neat. And I believe that's a recreation from like a comic panel. If it's not, okay, but it's still neat. You've also got some more references in the library books on the shelf. Well, not library, but the books on the shelf. One is just to the Avengers. You got Hulk there. And then you got magic ABCs and something about wands on the right. I kind of choose to believe the book on the top with the wizard hat and the traditional magic wand is an Ant-Man reference. It probably isn't, but I'm going with that. But all those are stickers. If you see a design in this set, it's probably a sticker. Those pictures are stickers, the book pages, the ticket, the map and the floor. It's stickers. It's stickers all the way down. There were 45 individually numbered stickers, but then there was 2 duplicates. So there's almost 50 stickers in this set. So yeah, that was fun, I guess. They're not on like curved stuff, so it's not a big deal. I feel like the only time that stickers really get annoying is when they're on curved items, but overall it works. The second floor is where we also have the Shugorath / Gargantos part, and just like the one on the first floor, it just pulls out, and I could switch it there, or like I said with the Captain America one, we'll see on the third floor. For now, I'm just going to leave it the way it was in the instructions, which was portal on the bottom, which led to the Infinity Stone and one of the sacred texts or whatever, and Shugorath on the second floor. But that will vary. How you want to keep that will vary based on where you're going to put this next to, since this is one of the walls that would go up against another modular. So that might not be good in the long run. Okay, but now that we've gotten a look at the first floor and second floor, let's take a look at the third. So here is the third floor, and if you are I guess, realist, you might be annoyed to find that there's no, like, stairs or ladder or anything to this floor, so I guess if you're not Strange or a flying character, you just never get to see this. But it's the display room from the first movie. We've got Strange, and again, I think it's supposed to be Wong, because that's Shugorath, or Gargantos, in that picture. There's Mordo, there's the Ancient One, and then again, you just got a bunch of stuff. I believe some of it was mentioned in the first movie. Cup, different staffs, different axes. What looks like a fire extinguisher, but I'm sure it's not. There's an umbrella. You know, those are very important to wizards, etc. So it's a nice little display area, but again, the fact that it's inaccessible from using stairs and whatnot, like most modulars have their floors, that's kind of a bummer. But regardless, you've still got that play feature with the wall. So this just pops out. This is at a different angle, so it made 90-degree swap to the others, but the other two are round, so it doesn't really matter. And then the black piece that the Captain America sign is on is a square, so you can shift that 90 degrees and it will fit the other two without problem. So like I said, I'm leaving it as the instructions put it together for now, but you can switch all of that really easily. So there's not too much to say about the third floor. It does have the only major print that's not a sticker, being this window here. And I mean, it looks good. The build for that, the way it's attached, is actually right there. So it's at an angle permanently without studs or anything, which, you know, makes sense for the way it is. It uses a clip, but it wasn't the way I expected looking at it from the box. And then finally, we've got the roof, which is, you know, it's a pretty standard roof. There's no access to it like a lot of modular roofs have, but it's just got chimney tops. It's got a tiny little garden, which I'm going to assume goes to Wong. I think he said something about gardening at one point, and like air conditioning stuff and whatnot. So it's a pretty good build overall, at least visually. I do have my issues with it, especially the fact that there's so much crammed in because of this alleyway. And I get they wanted that play feature, but I probably just wouldn't have put it on the first floor or put it on the other side along with this opening here. Make this bottom one just on this side here. But again, I get what they were going for. It's not a bad build by any means. It's just, it seems like they could have used the space better. And again, if I decide to modify this set, that's the way I'll do it. I will expand this wall out. Again, that's between 2 and 6 studs. So it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. The most quote-unquote difficult part would be making sure to line up the designs about how the sides of the wall are. But even that's, you know, far from super difficult. in general. It's just about getting the studs on side stuff right. So anyway, I do think this is a good set, especially if you're a Marvel fan or just like this aesthetic. Again, because of the way the wall sections are, unless you want to take apart like this, you're always going to have something kind of out there. So if you aren't getting this, or you didn't get this, I don't think it's available anymore. If you didn't get this because of Marvel stuff, and it's just because you like the exterior of the building, you will have to modify it a little bit to get the more fantastical elements out of there. But that wouldn't be too difficult. That's mostly just removing some stuff on the side. So on the whole, I think it's good. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the selection of minifigs. Most of them are ones I had versions of, with the exception of the two that were completely unique to the set. Or I guess 3 technically. I don't really count Mordo, even though I think I should. But I like it. I'd have problems with it, but I think it stands on its own relatively well. It's not, my problems with it aren't so bad that I'm like, oh, why did I get this? Like, I have 2 modulars sitting under my tables right now that I'm not even sure if I'm going to put together, and it's not because I think they'll be a bad build, it's just because I'm looking at them and I don't know if they fit in what I want my city to be anymore. And this, I think, will still fit my city, regardless of whether or not I keep, the tentacle monster and the portal and the Captain America sign. So, anyway, I like it. I do wish things like the alleyway and, I guess to some degree, this trash can, and the super condensed area of the house were a little more thought out. But I wasn't going to build this to such a degree. I do have the even older Sanctum set that was just a facade. And if I had just built that out, it probably would have been a fuller use of the base plate, but it wouldn't have looked as good. There's a reason I don't work for Lego. And anyway. So regardless, let's go find a place for it in the city to hang out for now. And then we'll close up shop for the day. So here is the current Lego City with its missing spaces. Here is the Sanctum Sanctorum, and I'm just going to slide it in right here for now. Please don't break. So, like I usually say, this is not going to be a permanent spot, but I felt like it was, for now, it gets the appearance that I want going. Plus, I feel like even though they're very different, these two, the Ghostbusters Firehouse and the Sanctum Sanctorum next to each other kind of go. And not just because both have to do with ghosts. I did move the Sugaroth slide to the back, just so it wouldn't hit the next building. But again, all this is going to change once I get the next 2 big modulars done, those being the Assembly Square and the Daily Bugle. Then I'm going to start rearranging based on size at that point. I know a lot of these builds are more or less the same size, but when you've got ones like the Daily Bugle, the Ghostbusters house or Firehouse, and hopefully eventually the Avengers Tower, those are all going to be more towards the back so that they creates more of a natural skyline. But here's where it's going to be for now. I've even given Dr. Dead Strange a zombie friend, to prey on unsuspecting victims. And so do you have the 2022 Sanctum Sanctorum? Do you like it? Do you think it fits with the rest of my city? Do you think it was a waste of time and money? Tell me down below. But regardless of what you think, thanks for spending time in my basement today. Hope you had a good time, and I'll see you in the next one.